freue mich sehr, Teil dieser Woche, Aktionswoche We Won't Shut Up zu sein. Da sich alles um den Internationalen Frauentag dreht, wird auch dieses Interview eine Mischung aus Deutsch und Englisch und vielleicht ein bisschen Spanisch werden. Ich bin heute hier mit Laura und Rebeca, die von der Bewegung Ni Una Menos sind. Hi, ich freue mich sehr, dass ihr hier seid. Erzählt mir gerne gleich ein bisschen was zu euch und eurer Bewegung.
Ja, also ich bin Laura, ich komme aus Argentinien und ich wohne seit ungefähr 3 Jahren hier in Deutschland. Ich war in Berlin und dann bin ich nach München umgezogen. Ja, und hier haben wir mit den Una Menos München angefangen.
I'm Rebeca, I'm from Mexico City. I've been here in Munich almost 2 years. And so since then, 1 year later, more or less, I met with Laura and we started Una Menos Munich.
So in what year was that here in Munich?
2019, the end of 2019.
Okay. Maybe you can tell me something about how it originally started. I think it was in Argentina, right?
Mhm. Ja, genau. Also Una Menos ist als Bewegung ist in Argentinien geboren im Jahr 2015 und das war ja die Konsequenz, als die viele verschiedenen, also massenden Feminiziden, das in Argentinien gemacht hatten. Also die Gewalt gegen Frauen war immer noch mehr. Und ja, es gibt einen Moment, dass die Frauen haben gesagt, okay, stopp, also wir müssen etwas sagen. Es war eine spezifische Situation mit einem Frauen, sie war 14 Jahren und sie ist getötet bei den Freunden. Und ja, deswegen haben die Leute, also die Frauen, diese große Demonstration gemacht. Das ist sehr schnell auch in anderen Ländern gegangen. Und ja, seit 2015 existiert diese Bewegung Una Menos. Das bedeutet, ja, so nicht einzige mehr, also das kommt von der Richterin und auch Aktivistin Susana Chavez. Sie ist eine Mexikaner Frau. War. Das genau, sie hat diese Worte gesagt, ni una muerta más, also nicht eine ermordete Frau mehr. Und diese Worte hat sie gesagt wegen die viele Femiziden, das in Ciudad Juárez, Mexiko, waren und das war in den 90er und 2000 Jahren ungefähr. Und dann, also Una Menos auch als Hashtag, es ist sehr, sehr bekannt und es ist nicht nur eine feministische Bewegung, sondern auch eine soziale Bewegung. Ne? Es ist auch für alle Leute, also wir sagen Stopp, also wir sind hier und we speak for women also.
Yeah, nice. Why do you think violence is still such a big topic in Latin America or all around the world?
I would say violence against women is a topic all around the world, because when we think about violence, we often think of its most extreme form, like murder, rape, feminicide in particular in this case. However, there are many other kinds of violence around us. There is economic violence around the world, within the poverty, within poor people, most of them are women, for instance. There is cultural violence. We see the media every day in our lives perpetuating stereotypes that discipline women into submissive attitudes. And this, we don't see it only in Latin America or in poor countries, we see it also here in Europe. We see it in the US, Hollywood, for instance, Hollywood movies. They perpetuate sexist stereotypes that perhaps they don't do it directly or even with the intention, but patriarchy, it's so within our culture that unconsciously they contribute to perpetuate these stereotypes that discipline women into certain behaviors that have as consequences that women are more submissive and that men have this role of dominance, so that they can, at the end, the patriarchy will obtain benefits from our unpaid work, from our bodies, and in many other ways. Now, having said that, of course, the rates of feminicide and rape in Latin America are greater than here in Europe. And this responds to a very particular socioeconomic context. It's a region that has suffered for many economical crises, from political disturbance. For instance, the working conditions aren't the best in the world. The salaries are not very competitive. Many people really face lack of real working opportunities. And on top of that, you have a thriving market for drugs, for prostitution. So many people go and work for these thriving markets because there are also consumers. And the consumers, they're not in Latin America. The consumers are here. The consumers are in the US. The weapons, for instance, with many women are killed in Mexico. They come from the US as well. They come from Canada. They come from Germany. So it's a global problem. And there it's a very particular socioeconomic context that, of course, combined with patriarchy, affects disproportionately women. So,
of course.
Yeah.
Would you also say the church plays a big role in that with its conservative views?
Ja, klar. Also, ich gehe in English jetzt. So, the church and religions, they always had this really important role in the patriarchal system and also in this oppression of women, no? And so we are always oppressed in this system, and they only want to have the power over us. But we don't need to go so far. I mean, like, if we see the situation here in Bayern, in Germany, the Catholics, I mean, the people who is related to the religion, they are really fighting against our rights, and they really want to take, for instance, the right of abortion for women, which is basically our right to decide of our bodies. I mean, and what we want to do. So there is a lot of stuff that is also a reason for this constantly system, but patriarchy system and the religion being there, imposing stuff that is always putting us in a really bad place.
Yeah. So what would you say are your main goals with your movement, Ni Una Menos?
Well, we have to say we are migrant women living in Germany, so this gives us a different perspective, perhaps, from German women living in Germany. So there are some problems that we want to address. Of course, it's always a work in progress. We also add new goals, or we discuss them and then add a different perspective. But some of the goals we want, some of the problems we want to address is the problems that migrant women can face here in Germany. For instance, discrimination in the workplace, working conditions for them, because there is always a discrepancy between what is legal and how it's actually like in reality. We would also want to address, for instance, reproductive rights, as Laura mentioned. We would like to address as well the issue of prostitution. Here in Germany, we know it's legal. However, this is related also to the situation of migrant women. It's no coincidence that most of the prostitutes here are from somewhere else, are from abroad. So these are some of the problems that we would like to address, that we would like to discuss, that we would like to contribute to bring in the public discussion and to make visible. And at some point, if there is some law that it can be changed, it would be interesting to contribute to this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and also, one of our main goals is to construct this Frauennetzwerk. Ne? Und also dass wir müssen auch, also wir wollten, dass einen sicheren Platz, also einen Safe Space für Women zu haben. Und also es ist auch sehr wichtig, weil für uns Juna Menos als Bewegung ist etwas sehr horizontal. Das bedeutet, dass es gibt kein Chefin, also wir sind alles das Gleiche und wir arbeiten alle zusammen. We help each other a lot, and so it's not only about doing activism, also about having a place to be and to help each other as women.
Yes. And within our organization, we try that everything is as transparent as possible. We share responsibilities, we share information with everyone. We make everyone part of the decision-making process all the time. So, for instance, we understand that we all have work, we all have personal lives. So we understand that maybe someone cannot contribute so much for a certain period of time, but then there is someone else that can step in. And in order to do so, it's important that we all know what is going on every time. So we try to keep this as transparent and horizontal as possible. And yes.
We live in challenging times. Yes. How do you organize yourself during this pandemic? Is it online?
Ja, genau. Also seit Coronavirus ist da, haben wir den ganzen Zeit nur online Meetings gemacht und also ist auch eine sehr große Herausforderung, weil es ist super schwer, die Leute zu motivieren und manchmal niemand hat die Motivation oder manchmal, wir arbeiten alles zu Hause jetzt und es macht total Sinn, dass die Leute sind komplett kaputt, also komplett müde und dass du sagst, okay, ich bin die ganze Zeit mit dem Computer und ich habe keine Bock, in dem Computer nochmal zu sein. Ne? Yeah. Deswegen für uns es war komplett schwierig. Und, aber jetzt mit dem 8. März, wir sind alles ein bisschen mehr motiviert und wir arbeiten zusammen. Wir machen ein bisschen, wir machen auch ein bisschen Aktionen, Online-Aktionen, auch auf der Straße. Also es ist sehr schwer, aber geht. It's better. Yeah.
It's also harder to have an impact in society when everyone is locked in their house. It's not the same like you do a demonstration and everyone sees you and it's in the newspaper. Now, if you can only do, for instance, online demonstrations, it's much harder to reach out to people. So this has also been challenging, how to be creative so that we can reach out and that people see us, that people listen to us. At some point, for instance, we did a meeting with Ni Una Menos from Nuremberg and Berlin, for instance, and some people threw some interesting ideas, like even to do a demonstration with distance or to go out and put like stickers and this kind of things. It's hard to be creative, but it's still possible.
Cool. Is there any kind of way we can help you reaching out? Like you're on Instagram, I think. Yeah, so I guess following you and...
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook. We also have a Twitter and we are working on that to make it better because it's a lot of stuff and not so many people, but yeah, that
It's
would
growing.
be nice.
Nice. Okay, maybe zum Ende zu kommen, eine letzte Frage an euch persönlich. In welchen Momenten fühlt ihr euch am meisten empowered? When you feel most empowered?
Well, I think one of the most empowered moments is when the girls, I mean, like the people who we are working with, like they come and they say like, yeah, I like this place, I feel safe, and somehow this makes me feel that okay, I'm doing something right here, because if they feel like they are at home in this small circle, then it's good.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the nicest moments of this empowerment. But yeah, also of course being in the street and shouting super loud makes me also really feel really empowered.
I would say also that one feels empowered when you feel that you have credibility and other people listen to you. So if patriarchal society and patriarchal structures refuse to listen to women, we have to start listening to each other, and like together we're stronger.
Yeah.
So if there are institutions that don't want to give us that credibility, we have to start to giving ourselves that credibility and to empower ourselves as a collective, and then bring that to the rest of society.
Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
Vielen Dank.
Thanks for inviting us.
All right.